Welcome to another video on index numbers. Previously, we focused on the simple method. Now we are on the aggregative method. So in this method, the aggregate. So when we say aggregate, we are looking at a summation. So in this method, the aggregate of all items in a given year is expressed as a percentage of the same item in the base year, given the index number. So under the aggregative method, we're going to look at the aggregate price index, the aggregate quantity index, and aggregate value index. So for the aggregate price index, we are saying that the aggregate of price in the current year is compared to the base year. So we sum all the prices in the base year and we compare it to the summation of the prices in the base year. The aim is to determine how much the overall price has changed over time using the sample price totals. So we are looking at how much the overall price has changed with reference to the base period. And for the aggregate price index, so aggregate price index, because we are saying aggregate, so it's basically the summation of all prices in the current period divided by the summation of prices in the base period times 100. That gives us the index number for the aggregate price method. Okay, for aggregate quantity index, it compares the total quantities of items in the current year with the base year. This helps assess changes in volume or production level over time. Similarly, for aggregate quantity index, also given by the summation, that's the total of the quantity in the current period divided by quantity in the base period times 100. Then for the last one, that's the aggregate value index. It compares the total value. So what's the total value? That's the price and the quantity. So if you multiply the price and quantity, you're getting the total value in the current year with that in the base year. This helps evaluate the overall change in the market worth or the sales revenue. It is also given by, so we have aggregate value index is equal to summation of your value. How do you get the value? The price in the current period times quantity in the current period divided by the summation of price in the base year times quantity in the base year multiplied by 100. Okay, so let's take an example. So we have to find the aggregate price index for this table. That's for 2021 and 2020. And we have to use 2020 as the base year, So for aggregate price index, we are saying that the summation of the price. So now let's find the summation of the price for year 2020. So we have total here. So we have 10 plus 20 plus 30, giving us 60. So when you add all the prices in the base year, it's giving us 60. Then prices in year 2021, you have 12 plus 22 plus 33, giving us 67. Then for the last year, 2022, 15 plus 25 plus 40, giving us 80. Now we can go ahead to find the aggregate price index. So aggregate price index for 2020, for year 2020 is 100. Why is it 100? It's 100 because that's the reference year or the base year, which is basically 60 divided by 60 times 100, giving us 100. Then when we go to the aggregate price index for 2021, it's given by the summation, as what we had here, the total divided by the total of the base year, which is 60. So 67 divided by 60 times 100, 111.67. So what can we say about this with respect to the base year? Meaning that prices increased by 11.67%. That's above the 100%. Okay, now let's find the aggregate price index for 2022. Also, we had a total of 80. So that's the current. So 80 divided by 60 times 100, also giving us 133.33. How do we interpret this? Also, prices went up by 33.33%. All right. Okay. The next thing is aggregate quantity. Aggregate quantity. So the next first step we have to do is to find the total, since we are dealing with aggregate. So the total quantity for year 2020 is 100 plus your 150 plus 200, 450, 110 plus 140 plus 210, also giving us 460. Then lastly, 120 plus 160 plus 250, 530. Okay, so now let's find aggregate quantity index. So aggregate quantity index for year 2020, which is your base year, is always 100. Then aggregate quantity index for year 2021, so given by your total for 2021, that's your current 460 divided by 450 times 100, also having 102.22. How do we interpret this? Meaning that our production volume, our consumption volume went up or increased by 2.22%. Okay, now the last year aggregate quantity for 2022 is equal to 530 divided by the base year, which is 450, times 100. We are having an index of 117.78. Also, with reference to the base here, you can see that our volume or our production or consumption value went up by 17.78%. Okay, let's solve the last question on the aggregative method, then end it here. When we come next time, we'll begin with the weighted index. So now the aggregate value index. And we know that the aggregate value index is given by the summation of price times quantity as both current divided by the summation of the base year quantity and price, all multiplied by 100. So now let's multiply the base year prices and the base year quantity. So let me create another table here. So we have commodity, A, B, and C. So we have the value. So the value for 2020, value for 2021, value for 2022. So first, for the first one, that's 2020, we have a price for commodity A, we have a price of 10 by 100, giving us 1000, then 20 by 150, 3000, 30 by 200, giving us 6000. Okay, so when we are done, we find the total because we are dealing with aggregate. So the total is 1000 plus 3000, 4000, 4000 plus 6000, 10,000. Okay, now let's move to 2021, the price and the quantity for 2021. So for 2021, we have the first one, which is commodity A, is 12, having a price of 12 and a quantity of 110, giving us 1320. 22 times 140, 3080. 33 times 210, 6930. Also, when we are done here, we also find the total 1320 plus 3080 plus 6930, 11,330. That's the total. Now let's find the value for the last year. The first one is 15 times 120, 1,800. 25 times 160, 4,000. 40 by 250, 10,000. So now you can go ahead to find the total. That's 1,200 plus 4,000 plus 10,000, 15,800. 15,800. Okay. So let's find our aggregate value index for 2020. 2020, which is the base year, is always 100. It's always 100. Then for 2021, so aggregate value index for 2021 is equal to the aggregate value for 2021, since the current is 11,330 divide by the base year value, which is 10,000, multiplied by 100. So 11,330 divided by 10,000, all multiplied by 100, giving us 113.3. Can say that compared to 2020, we have an increment of 13.3%. Aggregate value index for 2020. So for 2020, we had a value of 15,800 divided by the base year aggregate value, multiplied by 100. 15,800 divided by 10,000 times 100, 158. You can also say that relative to 2020, we have a 58% increase in our value. Our next video will be on Asper's, Pache, and Fisher's index. Thank you.